Join us for the magic of David Copperfield.
Wait a minute. What's going on here? Hey, it's the Magic Buzz. You don't have to see me today, although if you've never seen me, I've got lots of videos on here, my channel, that you can see me. But today, something different. I've put together from past David Copperfield specials, all of which I've watched many times. I've put together a David Copperfield special of my own. Yeah, picking my favorites, and I'm going to do some audio commentary as I go. I'll also release it without commentary in case you like the piecing together that I've done. I've cleaned up some video and audio. Should be pretty cool. So let's get into it. And now for the greatest opener in magic history, in my opinion. I mean, stylistically, it's fantastic. And look at that stage set. Also fantastic on TV because the camera could go around the back of the elevator, which you don't see when you see it live. I've seen it live, and it's impressive. It really comes across well on TV, which was David's mastery. He really knew how to work the camera. While still making it obvious that he wasn't using camera tricks. He sort of perfected the approach of having an amazing opening to your magic show. He really showed the importance of it and the effect of it. Setting the tone, setting the mood. You can tell that's a genuine smile. He really likes that opening.
This is Icarus. Isn't he beautiful? Yeah.
And he wastes zero time getting right into the show.
I've always wanted to fly like that. And tonight, without any movie special effects, I'm going to try.
We'll get back to that later.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Check this out.
All right, this was my first choice.
Ouch. That is a big blade. You see, a lot of people in my business cut people in half like this. Well, I've invented a brand new way to cut somebody in half. It's a little bit dangerous. It's a little bit romantic. It's a little bit country. And it's a little bit rock and roll. I call it the blade.
I mean, he really did come up with a new version of sawing a woman in half. I was always shocked that this didn't become a bigger thing. I mean, really, it's a massive update to the sawing a woman in half. Not to mention that you'll see here, I mean, you know, there's a lot of hamming it up in choreography, as was the style of that time. But it suits the effect in this case. You know, it's not just a bunch of cringy dancing around to try to drag out the piece. You know, they're hanging from the blade. Which actually makes sense when you see how the blade is utilized to cut the woman in half. So it was my top choice. This is from Unexplained Forces, and I would have thought this would have been just a fantastic way to kick off one of his live shows. I know he did perform this live. I don't know for how long. Interestingly, I was involved in a large group live chat with Copperfield some time ago. And this was the one illusion that he spoke about. You could tell that it had really meant something to come up with this update. And he almost sounded surprised himself that it hadn't had more impact on the magic world. I mean, look at this. The choreography it's perfect. Usually the sawing part of the sawing the woman in half is sort of just an afterthought. You know, it was just assumed that she wasn't actually being sawed in half, so nobody spent any real time with it. Here, it's the big part of it's a huge part of the illusion. Giant, obviously heavy blade coming down through the center. Just fantastic. And he's up there because the blade had to be up there. And since he's up there, boom, you get the great visual of the split. And then, again, hanging from the blade gives him the choreography to get back down to the ground. And look at that. What a visual. And ironically, much more in keeping with the original sawing a woman in half as far as method goes. Those who know, of course, know. Just perfect. Just perfect. I think bringing the halves together and then splitting them apart to show the second half was a mistake. I think David might have thought that as well, because I know live he showed both halves at the same time, at least some of the time. It might have detracted from it a little bit. And boom. I mean, just fantastic. Modern enough to hold up, but still classic enough to look like real magic. And if you watch this back without my yapping over top of it, you'll notice that the music is lined up perfectly with the choreography. Something David was just, he really went to the trouble of doing. All right, so our first bit of close-up magic, sort of parlor style.
Got this piece of tissue paper. I want you to unfold it, make sure it looks good to you. Make sure there's nothing funny about it or phony about it. Look okay? Because I'm gonna do something.
David did close-up and treated close-up with the same choreography, practice, respect, whatever you want to call it, as he did the stage illusions. He never skimped on close-up. And this is a perfect example of that. Just a phenomenal piece of close-up magic. And he gets right down in the audience to do it. I've seen him do it live, and it's not an easy routine to pull off. Invented by Kevin James. I used to have the VHS tape of Kevin James teaching this, and I practiced it thousands of times, but never really had the guts to do it regularly, live. Dave got it down cold. And to his credit, you know, even though David was collaborating a lot, he always put the Copperfield touches on the work. Really perfected his execution. Like I said, I saw him do this live and it was just perfect. He just went right down into the audience and boom. And I've seen Kevin James also do it live in the audience. And I just have to say that David's performance was better. Maybe I'm a sucker for the schmaltz, the slightly exaggerated mannerisms, but he just sells it really well. Now here's the best part of it. This is real genius on Kevin James's part. Taking flash paper, which all magicians love, making it into a rose. Just friggin' smart. Especially as a completion to the routine. You know, this was originally just the floating bill, the floating dollar bill. Kevin sort of raised it to a whole new level. And that hoop there, I believe, is David Copperfield's move. The prover. And the tradition of passing a hoop over the floating person. And of course it's flash paper, so boom. Oh, magicians love flash paper. Kevin had a great story about reaching into his pocket and pulling out the rose once, and the top had broken off. So he just let the spectator grab the stem while he made the Copperfield face and walked away with the top in his hand. Okay, so here is my next choice for stage illusion. Because it's another one, like Blade updating the Sawing the Woman in Half. This is an update of the Metamorphosis sub-trunk, which was badly needed, I think. The Metamorphosis substitution trunk is super famous effect, travels really well for stage magicians, so it remained sort of unchanged for a very long time. Although the Pendragons brought it to a whole new level with their speed of execution and just doing it to choreography and music rather than a spoken piece. I also chose this because I really liked Copperfield's use of sort of the white drapery and that type of thing. This was a sort of an era and something that he's used many times. Just flowing, plain drapery really works well in magic. Shows up good on stage, but it's relatively simple looking, timeless. And again, if you see this, I'll definitely put up another version without commentary. If you see this without my yapping over it, you'll notice that the choreography actually works here. It's not too boring and cringe. It really works. And of course, it's supposed to be sexy. I always liked, though, that it took away the silly tying up a person, which nobody believes is real anyway. And it did it nice and quick and simple. Now go back and watch this in slow motion. You'll be shocked at how well it holds up. Just perfect. I believe Jonathan Pendragon actually taught David the hourglass grab and throw away of the sheet. Great looking illusion. Especially if you go back and see that at the beginning they turned the table all the way around. Nice use of music as well. Now here's a fun one. And I usually I love the fact that it's a laser. I usually like the eyeball kind of thing, but I could never figure out, I don't know, it just didn't seem to make sense that this prop had an eyeball in it with the laser coming out. But the illusion is just so perfect. I can forgive David for going with an eyeball. I would have liked more of a James Bondy gun. You know, a James Bond style gun. Now watch this, if you haven't seen it. So it's like a teaser. Oh, he's cut in half. Wonder what he's hiding. A little peek. I'm not hiding anything. But whoa. I just love the fact that he teases it. Smart choreography, because it really adds to the impact of this next section. Just incredible. Perfect visual. Like Blade wasn't good enough as far as chopping someone in half. This is so good that the ridiculous reveal videos that you sometimes find on YouTube make it look like they don't have the real method. Because he treated it so well. Kept it looking perfect.
Right now, we're going to show you some close-up magic, some pure sleight of hand. For me to do that, I need to borrow a $100 bill.
So back to some close-up.
Does anybody have a $100 bill? I promise to return it. You do, sir. Take it out, take it out. What is your name?
I chose this one
John.
because
Right,
of
John.
many reasons. One, it showed, again, how he would take a little close-up piece of magic and turn it into a full piece, a full routine. You know, really giving it
Thank you.
the full
Thank
treatment.
you. This is John's $100 bill. Here. No, I'll give it back. I promise. He said it was my bill.
And the other thing is, this was the first David Copperfield trick that I was able to learn.
That's good.
That was sold in a magic shop. I got it from Perfect Magic in Montreal, Canada.
Now just use one finger, just touch it. Just touch it. And freeze, don't move.
I can't imagine what it was like as a kid to be able to reproduce a David Copperfield TV magic effect.
Just like that. Excellent.
Now you see, he's not just hamming around here. Video wasn't that common yet, especially to show close-up on the magic stage. So he's just proving that the video is live.
Do you like it?
Smart, and turning it into a full routine as if you're there. Things are examined, things are borrowed.
Sit down right here. We're going to use this pencil to find the center of the bill. And
Plain objects, just a pencil and a bill.
right here.
Although you don't see too many pencils anymore.
We can use a pencil to prove a point.
Great visual, poked right through. And even has an audio component.
Right through. Listen.
Torn. He takes the time to do the restoration, and the bill's fine. I loved performing this, especially the first 2 years after having learned it.
Thanks. I'm going to do that again, and this time I'm going to show you exactly how.
Now here's the real kicker. It had a second part
pencil really doesn't,
to it.
Rip the bill. The pencil actually melts through the bill. You don't believe me? I have to prove it to you. There you go.
Which comes out just like a stage illusion.
Real slow. Watch.
There's a Copperfield subtlety if you know the trick, and so is this part, holding it by the eraser end. Look at that, melts right through, just like a stage illusion close up in your hands. Which for most magicians was fantastic, because most magicians aren't stage magicians.
Take
As
the
created
pencil,
by
take the
Timothy
bill,
Wenck.
And pass it back to John. Not the pencil. The bill. Pass the bill
Amazing
back to
piece of
John.
magic.
Keep it high.
And you
keep
see?
it high. All the way over. Now
It's a full
50.
routine.
Now it's a 20. Now it's a 10. Now it's food stamps. Give John a big round of applause.
It's not just sleight of hand, throwaway trick. It's a full routine.
Well, weather, I get very busy when I do.
Okay, here's an oldie. And if you're wondering why I put this
If you
in,
weren't busy later, maybe we could.
Look, I'm sorry, David, but see, I brought this friend along.
I wanted
She has this
to make sure to have something representative of the first, what I would call the first half of his TV special career.
Listen, stand right here and don't turn around, and I'll tell you.
This goes to show you how long ago he began.
Let's see now. She's
Heather
a big
Locklear.
fan of yours.
Really?
Probably your biggest, and she's just chomping at
Having
the bit
on
for you.
well-known guests was a big part of TV in general.
Because she has got legs go right up to her neck.
And they're joking around about
She's exotic.
I like exotic.
the lady
Exotic is
that
nice.
he's being introduced to, which is obviously a giraffe.
I'll bring her out to say hello.
She's right
There
behind.
was a lot of goofing around on TV like this back in the day.
Maybe you could use her in your next illusion.
I don't believe in the use of wild animals for sure. It was a different era.
Can I help?
And pretty astounding that they would go to this kind of trouble, but I did want to choose this. I chose this, I should say, because I think it really was an astounding illusion. It harkens back to my favorite stage illusion, the Zig Zag lady, the little stand-up box with the sort of cartoony, colorful outline of the lady, and her face and her hand and her foot are sticking out, and you pull the middle section out of her. It was always my favorite stage illusion, of course, like most young magicians at the time, back in the 70s and 80s. And this is that. And it's done well. Again, I don't believe in the use of the wild animals, and I'm glad that's not really done anymore, but for the era, this really holds up well. And it shows the kind of look and the goofing around that was common at the time. I think magicians be well advised to go back and look at his earlier specials. Once you get over the style and the pacing of the time, there's a lot of good stuff to see. Good for the creative juices. Here we go. The Zig Zag giraffe. Boom. Now that comes out really well. Pretty astounding. At least I think it holds up well. Just imagining the trouble they would go to work with a giraffe is ridiculous. A lot of overuse of classical music back in the day. It was more common than using pop music. I guess it was who the magic was trying to appeal to at the time. And sort of, the convention of TV at the time.
That was a good trick. Cool.
I added that because I always thought it was great that David Copperfield was not afraid to ask for applause. Something I think he showed a lot of magicians over the years, that you really need to be showing how you're enjoying yourself and not be afraid to give applause cues.
Tess, have we ever met before? I'm going to show you something really cool. My very first trick. When I was a little kid magician, these are the shoes that I wore. These are air coppers. You put them on, you pump them up, and you're going. This little shoe goes into my back pocket.
So I picked this one because, again, it's an update of a famous magic trick. Ring to impossibilication, ring to keychain.
Could you do that again, please?
It was a much-needed
Check it
update.
out. Make sure it's
The ring to keychain is still performed probably thousands of times a day. Magicians love it. It's a great trick.
What does this mean?
It was nice to see an adaptation,
It's Copperfield, not
especially for the
Copperfield.
stage. Some inappropriate joking
Shoe
around.
Goes into the pocket just
No
like
big
that.
deal.
Tess, I need to borrow your ring. What's your favorite ring? That one? Take it up, take it up. Ooh! That's pretty.
Thank you.
There's initials.
Everything's motivated well.
I-N.
Magicians will appreciate the use of the magnifying glass.
Tess, hold on to this magnifying glass. We're going to get a nice tight shot of Tess's ring. It's very pretty. What is it? Is that a coin? What kind of coin is it? A what? A panda coin.
And he doesn't
Very
rush
nice.
through it. I've seen a lot of magicians do ring
What it looks like. What does that shot remind you
to
of?
their keys, and they rush
Home
through this
shopping
part of
network.
it instead of spending the time to establish that you do have the ring. I mean, the ring vanishes so well, so incredibly fast and
Remember what that
clean.
ring looks like? Watch closely because the ring goes into my hand. Watch.
It should not be rushed. And look at that. Good old Copperfield.
Look.
He sells it. He makes a big deal of it.
Go.
That's good magic.
My hands have never left your sight. But the real cool thing is your ring has reappeared back on your finger. Check it out. That would have been good though, huh?
A great joke that a lot of magicians are
My hands have never
afraid
left your
to
sight.
make
When I was a little kid
because
magician,
they
I used
think
to make
maybe
my
it
friends'
takes
rings
away
disappear.
from their
Then the rings would
own
reappear
actual
tied
ending.
into the laces of my shoes. Yeah, tied into the laces of my little shoes with their rings. Remember that little shoe in my back pocket?
And for real magic geeks, we know that ring to shoelace is also a thing.
Because
It just
tied
so
to the
happens in this
laces of
case
that
it's
shoe
to a baby shoe.
is a ring.
Look at that. Perfect visual. You get ring to shoelace and ring to key ring
Hang on there.
all in one.
That's your ring.
Makes
Give
it
her a big
super
round of
clean.
applause.
Just a great trick. Great update anyway. But I have stepped all over by talking through it. Okay.
You know, a lot of people ask me where we get the ideas for our illusions. Well, I look for inspiration everywhere. Sometimes the inspiration will come from music. I could be listening to the radio and I'll hear a song, and I'll get an idea. Let me show you what I mean.
This perhaps is my favorite David Copperfield illusion.
Ah, a radio.
There's an old
For inspiration.
boombox. Something maybe a little bit dated, but fun nevertheless. It was kind of in David's rock star phase with the hair and the leather. He's being a rebellious rock and roller. A little harken back to Brady Bunch.
That'll work. Come on.
Yeah, he's showing that he's young and he's hip.
Would you care to dance, grandmother?
Then we get an idea. The idea becomes a drawing. The drawing becomes a blueprint. Then
Blueprints
we
are
take the
just
blueprint
cool.
and we build the model. We take the model and
And the theme of seeing behind the scenes is great because in magic, it's all about, well, what is going on behind the scenes? How is it done? Lifting the box onto the table to show that it's light and empty. Brilliant. Just genius if you have any love for illusions and you're a magician. So smart.
these pieces come off. We're going to make a model.
Literally the sides of the box are made from the pieces of the blueprint on the screens. Just so cool. The crazy angles of the box make the illusion work better and suit the style. Little hamming around,
Over here. Nothing
showing
here.
both sides of the panel to do a really old-fashioned style
We gotta breathe some
effect.
life into you.
Clean and quick, but won't upstage the next section with the box. Works perfect with the music.
We're gonna make her disappear one piece at a time.
Okay, here we go.
Arm. Watch your arm.
It is literally the perfect illusion. It's not rushed. It's in pieces. So you get some of that woman cut in half kind of thing happening as she's slowly disappearing, like you're actually seeing inside how it's done. I always liked that it goofed around and did the hair as well. There's her hand coming through the box. He literally erases a drawing of her off the panel, which is very cool. And pow, she's gone. And then, of course, you have a whole new element, the sucker part of the illusion. Of course, she's hiding under the table. But not. I mean, that sells it big time. Look at that. She is gone. Before you have time to think, boom. You bring a picture of her back in, remove the disc, you've got a peering girl. Bam, the walls fall by themselves, and there she is, squeezed into that little box. And if that's not enough, he adds an S. Pow. Double assistance. I don't know, just everything about it. It's about as perfect as it gets. Okay. David was famous for schmaltz. No one did schmaltz better than David. Plus, we have to have a card trick. Dave's done some great card tricks over the years. He's treated cards with the respect that they deserve, since they're a mainstay of most magicians and of magic history in general. And here it's a nice choreographed to music 4-ace trick. No pick a card. Just a nicely staged presentation. That was super clean, for those who know. It takes guts to pull these things off live. It really does. With a camera on you, not easy. And boom. Clean and quick. No fuss, no muss. Ace is gone. But David knew you got to keep things visual. This is TV. This is stage. So pow. And listen to that music. I mean, it really does make a 4-ace trick into something a lot bigger and more powerful. Call it schmaltz if you want, but the music really works this routine. The grandfather aces. Of course, it's a whole big story of him doing this, having learned it from his grandfather. Nice dramatic reveal. In time with the music. He's got the big story that goes with it. I skipped over that, but you know, he learns it from his grandfather and he performs it for him. There they are together. Great schmaltz. Okay, big finale. Doesn't get any bigger than this. I saw this live here in Ottawa, Canada, and was not disappointed. Just an outstanding routine. I mean, this is the pinnacle of a magic illusion stage show. There's a few modern magicians doing their own version of this now, but it's nothing to this extent. The practice and the choreography that David went through to get this down and make it about flying rather than floating or levitating. He made this about flying. That was the real astounding thing about his use of this. technique. He just gave it such a great full treatment. Great visual. When I saw him do it here in Ottawa, he actually did it in front of a sort of a white, silvery, sequined curtain, even closer to the audience. You really felt like you could not see how he was flying. It was just absolutely astounding. He did not rest at this point with the development of where he got it here that you see it in his TV special. He even made it more fooling. I remember looking around the audience at the National Arts Centre and people's mouths were just hanging open. You know, on TV, you figure maybe you can hide stuff, maybe it's not as good as it looks, but when you see it live, especially in front of that white sequined curtain, so he was right at the front of the stage. You know, there were people not far away from him at all. That's a fun hoop prover. I didn't think he needed this, though. I didn't think he needed to go to this trouble. I guess for TV, you needed it. Again, because people just assume you can hide a lot more on TV. Look at that visual. I just felt that the box, which is examined ahead of time, I skipped that part, is just done so well. You know, floating into the box and closing it up. It's just done so well, it was enough of a prover. I can't even remember if he used the hoops when I saw him live. Such a great visual. And great use of camera. Just like the elevator at the beginning. Being able to pan it around the box, which is something you can't even see when you see it live. Just a great use of doing this on TV. And how about this? That walking sequence, I mean, that's just art. Lid comes off. Amazing prover. He was very well aware of the fact that he was on TV. And things would need to be substantiated and proven. And heavily, heavily staged and choreographed. And in true Copperfield fashion, it wasn't over when you thought it was over. When it came to magic, this guy knew how to level it up. I guess he still does. Hopefully we'll get to see the moon vanish soon enough. But boom. Just like Superman and Lois Lane. I mean, just smart. To go to the trouble of putting this in. It did not have to be done. But going to the trouble to do it just brings it to a whole new level. Carrying a participant, just like Superman. Just astounding. I know I sound probably like a big kid now. Every time I watch it, I have the same reaction. I guess every magician, you know, dreams of having this look. Now, look at this ending. There's Icarus. And off David goes. schmaltzy or not, it's pretty well perfect. And that's it. Thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed it, please share it. Like I said, I'll release a version without me yapping over it that you can enjoy. And come back anytime. Visit the Magic Buzz. Thank you.